Sampoornam College of Nursing, Kumarapalayam, Namakkal, India. I'm here to present a scientific paper entitled Efficacy of Psychological Intervention on Emotional Intelligence among Adolescents in Selected Schools at Erode, India. Next slide, please. Introduction. So, adolescent is a period of heightened emotionality. Emotional intelligence signifies the ability to understand and manage one's as well as the other's emotions. It refers to a combination of skills. These include empathy, self-control, self-awareness, sensitivity to the feeling of others, persistence and self-motivation, among others. Citation, Caribbean and Mohante in the year 2019. So basically, emotional intelligence is nothing but we're getting self-awareness regarding ourselves, our own strength and weakness. Next slide, please. So adolescence is a crucial period for developing and maintaining social and emotional habits that are important for mental well-being. Citation by WHO in the year 2020. Emotions strongly affect the behavior of adolescents in developmental phases. High emotional intelligence has an impact on the process of good social interaction, the establishment of a good self-concept, the decrease of juvenile delinquency, and the enhancement of academic abilities. Next slide, please. So adolescents who have low emotional intelligence tend to behave poorly, commit deviations and violations to themselves, such as frustration, conflicting irregularities, and exacerbating mental health. Citation in the year 2019 by Nuzeba Noor. And adolescent boys are found to be more responsible, better able to make intelligent decisions using a healthy balance of emotions and reasons. Next slide. Boys are found to be more aware of their weakness than girls. Adolescent boys differ significantly from adolescent girls on self-development dimension of emotional intelligence. Adolescent boys and girls differ significantly on composite scores of their emotional intelligence. Boys are found to have higher level of emotional intelligence than girls. Citation Con, MA and BAT, NA in the 2013. Next slide. So Radhakrishnan et al. In the year 2019 suggested that the findings of the study are useful to policymakers if they want to improve the mental health and psychological well-being of adolescents. There is need for mental health education in schools to raise awareness about the importance of emotional intelligence and psychological well-being to minimize the impact of depression and stress faced by secondary school students. Next slide. Psychological intervention has a significant impact on resilience among early adolescent girls of experimental group, and it has increased the scores on resilience in experimental group. The intervention can be used in similar settings to enhance resilience. Limitations and avenues of further research also have been suggested. Citation Karthik Lakshman in the 2010. Next slide. The efficacy of psychological intervention on emotional intelligence among adolescents was unrecognized and camouflaged in India. Hence, the researcher was interested towards this area of study. So many literatures, well, when we talk about many literatures, emotional intelligence is really spoken very less. So as this was spoken very less, I was interested in taking up the same research work. Thank you. Next slide. Its methods. Prior to the collection of data, permission was obtained from the concerned authority in selected schools at Erode. The research design used for the present study was through experimental design. After obtaining written informed assent and consent, adolescents who fulfill the inclusion criteria, like with age between 13 and 17 years, and adolescents with low average level of emotional intelligence, was recruited and enrolled in the study. Next slide. Simple random sampling technique was used to recruit these study subjects. Sampling frame was made consecutively, list of elements numbered, and by adopting random number table, adolescents were selected. Study subjects was assigned randomly to either experimental group 75 or control group 75, total 150 subjects. Pretest was conducted by using demographic variables and skewed self-report emotional intelligence scale. It includes 33 self-report items using one strongly agree and one strongly disagree and 5 strongly agree. And in demographic variable, I have used age, gender, grade, religion, family monthly income, type of family, even dietary pattern, their sleep pattern, leisure time activities. Next slide, please. So experimental group received a psychological intervention for 30 to 45 minutes, twice a week for the period of 1 month. Psychological intervention comprises of 6 sessions, namely like session 1, introduction. In introduction session, trustworthy relationship was created by explaining the purpose of intervention during the first meet. And in second session, SWOT, in the sense strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats were analyzed. Subjects were trained to analyze their skills such as empathy, problem solving, optimism, and self-awareness, and also prepared personal worksheets. And session 3, it comprises of recognizing emotions. Here the subjects were trained to identify, recognize, and express guide range of emotions, both positive and negative. Subjects were trained to recognize emotions by facial expressions or body gestures. Adolescents were asked to communicate their emotions in the class as an assertive way. Even we taught what is assertive behavior for them. And in session 4, controlling mood and self-expressions were really taught for them. Certain techniques to express and control mood were carried out, like writing about their feelings, expressing through art or music. And again, we made them to engage in physical exercises, laughing or crying out, talking with someone trusted. And session 5, it comprised of like positive interpersonal relationship. Subjects were encouraged to recognize same positive characteristics of themselves and of their schoolmates, and then they were asked to pay each other and verbal compliment. And subjects were instructed to write their individual diary about the compliments they received. The session 6 is simply about adaptability and decision making. Subjects were motivated to identify and understand the impact of one's own feeling on thoughts and decisions, and even the behavior and performance in studies. Feedback sessions were also conducted at the end in the couple of weeks. Next slide. Control group received standard methods of care, in the sense usual care, and posters was conducted at the end of first month by using the same assessment techniques in experimental and control group. Slide. Results. Wilcoxon sign rank test and Mann-Whitney test showed statistical significance in augmenting emotional intelligence in experimental group comparatively to the control group among adolescents. Next slide. This is tabular representation of emotional intelligence with captions and stubs. So here in experimental group pretest, the median is 15. In experimental group posters, the median score is 20. In control group pretest, median score is 14, and control group posters, median score is 15. And in significance, Wilcoxon sign rank test in experimental group pre and post test showed statistical significance with the Z is equal to 7.17. It is statistically highly significant with P is equal to 0.001. And in control group pre and post test, it showed statistical non-significance with Z is equal to 2.89. And in significance, Mann-Whitney test between experimental group and control group posters showed statistical significance with T is equal to 8.06, which is again statistically highly significant. Here we can even compare the median, like 20 and 15. When compared to experimental group, control group median score is less. So again, it indicates that the emotional intelligence in the experimental group subjects would have improved much when compared to the control group subjects. Next slide, please. A discussion. The study findings revealed that administration of a psychological intervention was significant in enhancing and augmenting emotional intelligence among adolescents. This result is consistent with the study findings of Moltrich in the year 2021, who conducted a systematic review and meta-analysis to statistically integrate psychosocial intervention and their effectiveness to improve emotion regulation. Next slide. The results suggested that interventions can enhance emotional regulation in youth and that these improvements correlate with improvements in psychopathology. More RCTs, including larger sample size, different age groups, and psychopathologies are needed to increase our understanding of what works for who and when. Next slide. Conclusion. Psychological intervention was quite effective for enhancing emotional intelligence among adolescents. Next slide. I think it could be reference. Okay, these are all some of the citations. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Thank you.